Pay attention to the woman entering the lobby camera. She vanished without a trace until one camera frame changed everything. At 6:42 a.m., a security camera in the lobby of the Briarwood Apartments records a woman stepping out of an elevator. She adjusts the strap of her canvas bag, checks her phone, and walks toward the front door. The footage is silent. The timestamp is clear. She does not look back. 2 hours later, at 8:51 a.m. on Monday, April 12, 2021, a 911 call comes in from the same building in Northgate, a mid-sized city in the American Midwest. A maintenance worker reports an unlocked apartment with the lights on and a stove burner still warm. He says the tenant, a woman in her early 30s, is not answering her phone. By noon, police will label it a missing person case. By nightfall, they will quietly suspect something else. They don't know this yet, but the answer is already waiting inside one frozen frame of video. The missing woman is Laura Bennett, 34 years old, a compliance analyst for a regional bank. No criminal record, no history of running away. She lives alone in a one-bedroom unit on the 4th floor of Briarwood, pays her rent on time, and keeps a strict routine. The obvious explanation comes first: voluntary disappearance, stress, a sudden decision to leave. It is the default assumption when there is no sign of violence. Investigators will challenge it within hours. Laura's phone, keys, and wallet are still on the kitchen counter. Her car remains parked in its assigned spot, dust undisturbed. Her cat has not been fed. The stove burner left on is unusual but not alarming on its own. Together, these details do not suggest a planned departure. They suggest interruption. The timeline begins to matter. Laura's sister, Emily Bennett, last spoke to her at 9:18 p.m. the night before, Sunday, April 11th. The call lasts 4 minutes. They talk about their mother's upcoming surgery and a work deadline Laura is behind on. Emily later tells police Laura sounded tired but normal. At 10:02 p.m., Laura sends an email to her manager attaching a draft report. At 10:17 p.m., she opens a food delivery app but does not place an order. At 10:26 p.m., her phone connects to her home Wi-Fi for the last time. At 6:12 a.m., her alarm goes off. Neighbors will say they hear movement around that time: a shower running, cabinet doors, ordinary sounds. At 6:42 a.m., she appears on camera. After that, nothing. Laura grew up 40 miles away in a small town where everyone knew her as responsible and private. She put herself through college, took care of her mother after her father died, and avoided drama. Friends describe her as methodical, predictable, the kind of person who texts when she arrives home safely. Her routine is consistent. Weekdays, she leaves for work between 7 and 7:15 a.m., drives directly to the bank, and parks in the same spot. On Mondays, she brings lunch from home. On Sundays, she calls her sister. The deviation is small but critical. On April 12th, she leaves earlier than usual, and she does not go to work. Key relationships emerge quickly. Her ex-boyfriend, Mark Ellis. They dated for 3 years and broke up 8 months earlier. The separation was tense. Mark wanted reconciliation. Laura did not. There were no restraining orders, no police reports, but friends recall frequent texts and unannounced visits. Then there is Daniel Price, a co-worker, married, senior to Laura at the bank. The two had collaborated closely on a project that involved internal audits and access logs. Nothing inappropriate is alleged, but investigators note that Daniel had recently been disciplined for a reporting error.
Laura's name appears on the corrective memo. Money becomes another thread. Laura had recently updated her life insurance beneficiary, removing Mark and naming her sister instead. She had also flagged irregularities in a dormant account at work, an issue that could trigger an internal investigation. Pressure accumulates around her quietly. On April 13th, police canvass Briarwood Apartments. No one reports a struggle, no screams, no suspicious vehicles. The lobby camera footage shows Laura exiting, but no camera captures her outside. A nearby street camera is out of service. Another points away from the entrance. The building's rear exit camera shows nothing until 7:03 a.m. when a dark sedan passes through the alley and pauses briefly. The license plate is unreadable. The driver is obscured.
Then a digital forensics analyst re-examines the lobby footage. Not the movement, the stillness. At 6:42:19 a.m., Laura pauses near the door. For less than half a second, she looks down and slightly to her left. Her posture changes. Her shoulders tighten. The analyst zooms in, enhances the frame, refines the contrast. A reflection appears in the glass, a shape behind her, a figure just outside the camera's main field of view. They don't know who it is yet, but they know she saw someone. Investigators request additional footage from nearby businesses. A convenience store across the street provides a clip from 6:43 a.m. A dark sedan idles near the curb. The brake lights flash. A woman matching Laura's description approaches from the direction of Briarwood. She hesitates. The passenger door opens. The footage cuts out after 3 seconds. The sedan is identified 2 days later. A 2016 black Ford Fusion registered to Daniel Price's wife. Daniel is brought in again on April 26th. This time, the questions are precise. His phone data places him awake at 5:58 a.m. His car's onboard system logs a door opening at 6:41 a.m. The vehicle is driven, then parked, then driven again before 7:30 a.m. He says his wife was driving. She says she was asleep. The planning phase becomes visible in hindsight. Bank records show Daniel withdrew $3,000 in cash 2 weeks before Laura vanished. He purchased prepaid phones. He accessed Laura's work calendar multiple times outside business hours. He searched remote trailheads and landfill schedules. Text messages recovered from his deleted folder reveal escalating frustration, references to fixing the problem, to ending the risk. The motive is control and reputation. Laura had uncovered discrepancies that pointed back to Daniel. An internal review could have ended his career and exposed an affair he had worked to conceal. The crime unfolds minute by minute. At 6:30 a.m., Daniel parks near Briarwood's rear entrance. He waits. At 6:42 a.m., Laura exits the elevator. She sees him. She recognizes the car. He tells her there's an urgent issue at work. He says he needs her help. She hesitates. She gets in. They drive north. Laura texts no one. She does not know she will not return. At 7:18 a.m., the car enters a service road near the Redfield Quarry. At 7:26 a.m., it stops. At 7:39 a.m., it leaves. Laura's body is discovered 3 weeks later by a survey crew. She is concealed beneath construction debris. The cause of death is blunt force trauma. The medical examiner estimates the time of death between 7:20 and 7:40 a.m. on April 12th. The investigation accelerates. Daniel is arrested on May 6th, charged with first-degree murder. His wife is not charged. She provides evidence that corroborates the timeline, but denies prior knowledge. At trial, the prosecution returns again and again to the frame at 6:42 a.m., the moment Laura looks down, the moment she realizes something is wrong.
The defense argues circumstantial evidence, coincidence, a tragic encounter gone wrong. The jury deliberates for 9 hours. On November 18, 2022, Daniel Price is found guilty. He is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Laura Bennett did not vanish without a trace. She was erased deliberately by someone who believed planning could outpace truth. It couldn't. The camera did not capture the crime. It captured the beginning of it, and that was enough. The warning is simple and unromantic. Routine can be exploited. Trust can be weaponized, and sometimes the smallest detail, a pause, a glance, a reflection in glass, is the only witness left to speak.